Hello, everybody. My name is Benjamin Bloom. Wrong day, wrong time, but here we are nonetheless. I apologise for not being there with the Championship review yesterday. Bit of an issue driving home, involved very, very close to a bit of a smash, and spent some time with our lovely police for an hour or so, and just didn't feel in the mood to do the stream last night. So I know I am earlier than normal, and I know people may or may not be home from work. But if you do get involved in the stream tonight, please make yourself known. We will be going over the Championship action from game week number 30. Hi to West Brom Vlogs in the chat. And typically ridiculous Championship game week. And things have really stretched themselves out now, haven't they? That massive gap at the top of the table is all but gone. West Brom back to the top, 1 point ahead of Leeds, who had another crazy result against Wigan. We saw that at the end of last season, didn't we? Fulham get the win and are within 3 points of second place. Forest are closed in as well. There's still a little gap between second and third, but the top six all close in. Marcus says Forest v Leeds will be tasty. So look, if you're not in the chat here, hopefully you can catch up later watching in real time. Let's start at the top of the league with West Brom, who, like I said, moved back to the summit. If I were to click the right button, I would be able to get all of these scores up. There we go. So West Brom had not won for a while off the back of 2 draws and 2 straight defeats. Defeat before that as well, 2 points in 5 games there. Horrible form, but they come up against bottom team Luton and they get the win. Daniels with an own goal in the first half. Ajayi heads in. What a good signing he has been for them. I believe we get the debut for West Brom of Callum Robinson as well. He fits in there on the left hand side. Jason says Leeds do better when they're up against it. Leeds to win it for me. Well, they need to stop these crazy games that they dominate and lose, don't they? So comfortable one there for West Brom, getting themselves back to winning ways. It says a lot about the table that they're still top. West Brom Vlog says Robinson was a bright spot for us, be good for the remainder of the season. Bilic, it looks like just giving themselves extra options there. Obviously, Dean Garner is hurt. Luton did have that important win in the midweek over Derby, didn't they? They've been ages without a victory. They have actually won 7 games this season, Luton, so not too shabby, but so many defeats, 20 defeats. My God, it's hard work, isn't it? But it's been a very good week for Wigan, and Luton are 7 points adrift down at the bottom. There we are, 16 games to go now. It is hotting up. So good win for West Brom. Still only lost 4 all season, 3 of those in this past 6 games. Let's move on to Leeds, as we mentioned. Crazy home defeat. They completely dominated the game by all accounts and then concede from a set play. Similar story up the top for them. Lots of fingers pointed at Bamford, tons of shots given up. Dallas into central midfield in this one. Remember, Calvin Phillips is suspended, isn't he, after that red card I saw at QPR. Klitsch, into that holding midfield position. Yeah, it's just incredible. Every stat other than the actual goals at the end of the game going for Leeds, and they come a cropper 0-1. I'm sure there'll be shouts for Jean, Kevin or Gustin. When's his time going to be? He's come in. People getting short of patience with Bamford there. Leeds still in there in second place, but by God, 3 defeats in the last 4 games, losing at home to Sheffield Wednesday, at QPR, and then at home to Wigan. Just incredible how this continues to happen for Leeds when they create so many chances. Obviously, Phillips is a big miss. I believe he'll still be suspended at the weekend against Forest, and then back for that game against Brentford. I will be there to see Leeds, and those people who want to point the finger of curse at me, I was nowhere near this game, and Leeds managing to lose at home for Wigan, to Wigan for the second time in a row without me being anything to do with it. Animation says Hernandez below par recently. Yeah, maybe. He certainly set the bar very high, and Wigan have set the bar very high. You need these little streaks when you're down the bottom if you're going to get out of it. 2 straight wins for Wigan, and also 3 wins in 5 games. I always say you can lose a couple if you're going to just dot a win in there. Every 3rd or 4th game, probably down the bottom there, you'd probably actually be all right. The paucity of wins, if you look, Stoke are out of it in 21st, and they've won 9 in 30. So that's it's basically a win every 3 games, isn't it? And Wigan, they've given themselves a chance, haven't they? The gap is closed up. They're on 29, just under the line there. Stoke on 31, Huddersfield 32. We said for a while it's more likely Charlton, but we'll talk about Charlton's important result as well. But bad one for Leeds, really good weekend for Wigan. Good little run as well for Fulham, who've got 10 points from the last 4 games to move into 3rd place. They've all been rotating that 3rd place, haven't they? We've seen Sheffield Wednesday. Trevor says, nice surprise, Mitro was back, but obviously he's back and he scores. Forest have been there, Brentford have been there, I think Bristol City have been there, Sheffield Wednesday have been there, Preston have been there early in the season, Swansea have been there. So many teams have been in that 3rd place spot, but it's never managed to quite be the top 3, and we've still got a little 3-point gap. A whole flurry of goals in the first half of this one. Reed with a nice one cutting in from the wing and scoring. Kenny scoring a rare one with his right foot. Mitro back and scoring. I think that's goal number 20 of the season. I haven't checked. And having got 3-0 up, it's back to 3-2 within 10 minutes. Smith Rowe, he's on loan there, and Mounier, they did actually play through for both of those goals. Aquatic says Forest to win. I assume he means against Leeds, or just in general, just in life. So Fulham, yeah, nice little run. I saw a good tweet from Sammy, who does the Fulhamish podcast, and he kind of echoes the thoughts of a lot of the top 6 teams about Fulham. If we can just keep our heads, he said, then yeah, it's there for the taking. Jackie says Austin off the bench is sickening. I think he's talking about West Brom's striking options as opposed to Leeds' striking options there. So Fulham on a good run. If you look at the form up the top, that is what, 13 points in the last 6. So way more for Fulham than for Leeds and West Brom. Huddersfield are still in trouble. There's some sense that they actually did quite well in this game. Look at the form. They've picked up 7 points in 6. You just need that points parity to stay up. And the standard's actually pretty high there, because everyone other than the bottom 3 have got the points parity. You keep that, you'll end with 46 points, and that's nigh on always enough to stay up. Just the odd rogue season. I think Peterborough went down with 50 or something one time. But Huddersfield, yeah, they're still below Charlton. I've said that I think Charlton will end up in the bottom 4, but yeah, Huddersfield still haven't managed to climb out after that dreadful start. Trevor says apparently Mawson out for the rest of the season for Fulham. Obviously Hector's come into the back 4 there with Ream, but still you don't want to be losing people for the rest of the season. Forest are in 4th. I saw them win at Brentford. You can see the review on the channel, but they lost at the weekend. They would be with a win on 54 points, tucked right up behind that front 2 given the results. But as we've said here many times, teams getting close this season to the top 2 and not staying there. And they had the lead and they missed a penalty in this one, so a big missed chance for Forest at Birmingham. Thiago Silva cutting in from the left to give them the lead. Then Graben missing the spot kick, rare one for him, really good at this level. And then straight up the other end, Scott Hogan, who's been brought in to get the goals for Birmingham, did just that. And Christian Pedersen getting the winner for them. So big disappointing missed chance there for Forest as I said, and they've been on a decent run as well. And big game, Forest versus Leeds. If Forest can win that, they close up and they damage the direct rival. You feel a win for Leeds, and you put in those big gaps back in. It'll be a 7-point gap between Leeds and Forest. What a big game at the weekend. We'll talk about that in the preview. Obviously, nice win for Birmingham. They are 4 unbeaten and 8 points in the last 4. So they've had a nice little splurge just when they need it. They're 8 clear of relegation. Going to be looking to try and hit the top of that 3rd quartile of the league, and that's probably a decent season. They can get in the top half. A very decent season for Birmingham. Let's talk about Brentford, who absolutely battered Hull. I did a review of this one watching live on Sky. Darkstar says, afternoon, Benjamin, is it half term? It is not. A couple of weeks' time, half term, but as I said, Darkstar at the top of the video. Bit of a motoring issue yesterday and wasn't in position to be able to do the review. But here we are now anyway, so welcome. Brentford absolutely battered Hull, didn't they? Ben Rama, hat-trick, Watkins, who got the other one? Can't even remember, probably, I really can't remember. I should probably just click on the goal scorers there. I have done a full review of this one, Riesberg and goal. There you go, no wonder I couldn't remember. So Ben Rama back to form. I said he was out of sorts against Forest, obviously recent tragedy, bereavement in his family, so I guess that's kind of to be expected. Back at it with a hat-trick in this one. So Brentford into 5th spot. I've said all season they've always bounced back well from losing. I don't know the exact stats, but I suspect they always get 4 points pretty much from the next 2 games when they lose. Sorry, I'll shut my phone off to stop that bleeping. Hull, there's a worry now, isn't it? Bowen's gone, Grzycki's gone. They've lost the first game without them, 5-1. They have had bang, 4 defeats on the trot. It's a nice big gap. Someone did point out to me they're only 7 points off 46 points, which is probably safe. But Little Crow says, any idea who was awarded the Hull goal? I have not checked Opta. It was a very, very weird one. It says Tafazoli on who scored. So, I wouldn't give that one as an own goal when it goes through the legs. A bit of a weird one, but there you go. Good win for Brentford. Hull trending downwards most definitively. A team that are trending upwards. By God, 4 wins on the trot and 5 wins in 6 for Bristol City. Are we allowed to say Streaky Lee? Bristol City fans turn me off, but come on, this is the definition of Streaky Lee, isn't it? Great win at QPR. I, along with lots of Rangers fans, expected Naki Wells to do the damage, the new signing there, but it was Jeju with the goal, and my QPR supporting mate said he was an absolute nightmare to play against. Jeju heads in Jack Hunt's goal. Wells not in the starting 11, going with one up top, and it has been working for them. Obviously, Brownhill departing in the transfer window. I said he was the most saleable asset. They do very well, though, at recycling assets, don't they, Bristol City? So can they come on with a push now? They were there or thereabouts for a lot of last season and just came a cropper at the end, having had that brilliant win at Sheffield United, but didn't quite manage to keep it up, Bristol City, right until the end. Can they do it this season? They don't lose many games and they're in that box seat. I've said for a while now, I think 6th place is up for grabs. I think the current top 5 is the top 5 that finishes the season, but don't ask me in what order, but I do think 6th is up for grabs. And if teams like Bristol City, no one anywhere near a run of 4 wins on the trot, are going to put runs together like this, then it is theirs for the taking. And some would argue, look at them, they're only 2 points off 3rd, Bristol City, so can they keep it up? QPR, they're just kind of muddling through this season now and kind of just slowly dribbling down towards that bottom 8, aren't they? Down in 16th now. So many goals against, so many, 14 defeats as well now. 4 defeats in the last 6 as well. And can they survive losing Wells, and what happens in the summer with Bright Samuel and Eze and Chair and all of those saleable assets? Preston into 7th. They drew 1-1 at home to Swansea. They're in good form as well. Preston 8 points in the last 4 games. Quite erratic. Scott Sinclair getting his first goal for Preston. Nice curler from outside of the box. And Brewster scores again for Swansea. I think good loan deals for Swansea. Aquatic says, would be nice if there are more teams going for the top 2. Makes the league more interesting. We may get that this season. That does require Leeds and West Brom to continue on their very, very patchy form. You still think if Leeds and West Brom can push again, can the others just keep up? Very, very erratic. Animation says, of course, it's against Swansea, former Swansea player Scott Sinclair. Preston sitting there in 7th. Jaggy says, would love to see you interview an ex-referee. The quality's so bad. Yeah, I'd love to interview an ex-referee. The difficulty with talking to referees, Steve says, Wendy's top 6. Colin says he was at the game on Saturday, very disappointed from a Leeds point of view. I think problem with talking to referees is they're very good at just reciting the laws. And Darkstar says, newsflash, Leeds are crap even when you don't turn up. There we go. The curse is a myth. That's Darkstar's words about Leeds being crap. Not mine. Obviously, I have enough trouble with Leeds fans and being accused of the curse. So not my words at all there. But speaking about referees, they're very good at fudging answers, politicians' answers. But it'd be interesting to speak to one. And remember, we don't even have the smokescreen of VAR in the Championship, although everybody knows it's coming sooner or later, isn't it? Millwall down in 9th, and we all see it coming. Gary Monk versus Gary Rowett, Sheffield Wednesday versus Millwall. Big 0-0 in there. There we go. Millwall sitting in 9th. Wednesday in 10th. They're in the chasing pack, but a little gap has opened up with Preston and Bristol City pushing, with good form recently. Although I have to say, Blackburn have got 8 points in the last 4 also. Little Crow says, terrible game. Millwall probably should be the happiest set of fans, but maybe not after that dad bod shot at the end. I will be watching Millwall this Sunday, West Brom versus Millwall. I will be at that game after I'm at work on Saturday night. Colin says, if you could ever manage, it would be great to watch a game with a qualified ref, Ben, even if not top tier. Yeah, I would genuinely be interested in that, just to see how they view everything. I must admit, I would also advise all football fans to go and watch a game in a stadium that doesn't involve their team, because believe me, I promise you'll come out less against the ref than in games involving your team. I promise. I watch a lot of games that are neutral. There you go. CLC says, that's happened from Iorfa to stop your player running in was unreal. Talking to our Millwall fans in here. Iorfa's been a really good signing for Wednesday this season. Always had it in him. Obviously, we had him at Ipswich, my team. Bit erratic, but just better, more organised team and manager, and he's playing well, isn't he? Let's talk Blackburn, who I said were on good form. 8 points in the last 4 for them. They drew 1-1 at Millwall. Aquatic says, Graven should pass on the penalty duty. Who should have it, Aquatic? Let me know. It was Borough 1, Blackburn 1. That always reminds me of that game that got cancelled in the Premier League, and Borough didn't turn up and got deducted the win and got relegated, didn't they? So a 1-1 draw there, keeping Blackburn ticking over. Travis, he's having a good season, isn't he? Nice give and go, and gets into the box and pops it in. Coulson with the equaliser for Borough, finishing off there. Blackburn, I just think he's doing a good job, Mowbray, isn't he? 10th position. They've won a lot of games, haven't they? They've won 12 games this season. If he finishes them in the top half and keeps things ticking over there, that's a good job. If they could just have that magical signing. I know they've gone for Brereton and they've gone for Gallagher. Just that guy who can get them the goals. I think there's a big upside, and he's doing a good job there, Mowbray, when you consider you're against parachute teams. I know Millwall fans will pipe up, look who's one place above them, but I'm talking about Blackburn at the moment. Borough, they've weathered the storm, haven't they? They are 7 points above the relegation, so a bit of a regression, only 3 points from the last 4 games, so they need a win fairly soon. But given where they were before Christmas and the run they had thereafter. Not looking too bad at all, are they? Borough, Colin says, as a Leeds fan, you can't help but admire Monk, great record against us. Aquatic says, how about Dawson, mate? Heard he may be retiring. Our professor talking about the Forest penalty situation there. Maybe Silva, good technique, but can you trust him, mate? Can you trust him? Moving on down the table to 12th position is Cardiff. They drew on the Friday night, didn't they? They drew 1-1 with Reading. How many games have Cardiff drawn now, for goodness sake? 13 draws. That must be, that's a league high for Cardiff. And Cardiff are really, they're 7 points back now with 16 games to go. They're in season 1 of Parachute Money. They've changed their manager. They're not getting this right, Cardiff. They really need to get it sorted to have a good push next year. Else, you know what this division does? Once that Parachute Money goes, you have to shift out those high earners, those Premier League players, regenerate a whole squad. It is not easy once the Parachute Money goes and you're dealing on the same wage levels as everyone else. I think Cardiff fans would be pretty disappointed with this season as it's gone. Reading, well, they continue to be fairly hard to beat against under Mark Bowen, rather, but no wins in 5, now only 3 points in that time, although you're looking at getting to that 45, 46 point mark, and they are not far off. They're only, in fact, 2 wins of 44 points. So Reading, I suppose their target will be the upper of the third quartile. Top half would be great for them. We move on to Derby, who still keep winning. They had the weird defeat, didn't they? Robin says, I wonder which team will go on the magical run. Points per game dropped under 2 anybody's league now. Yeah, quite, and he is right. If a team does do 6 wins in 7, for example, as far down as even Preston, for goodness sake, if Preston scored 18 points from their next 7 games, then you'd think they'd be well up with a challenge for the top 2. So yeah, Robin is right there. If anyone can put that magic run together. Little Crow says, Wayne Rooney's Derby. I think you're fun. We've got to talk about Wayne, haven't we? A lot of wins coming in here. 4 wins in the last 6. Derby in really nice form. As soon as Rooney arrived, and as soon as they knew they were going to get points deduction probably coming up for the profit and sustainability, they've been in really fine form. They're really good at home, actually, I think, Derby. Let me click this button. Yeah, Derby's second best league win in the season. Robin says Bristol City look interesting. Joshua says streaky lead. Bristol City are on the cusp and they are winning now. Have they timed it too early? Sean says Rooney best position, middle of the park, pinging it about. Yeah, Derby 32 points at home. They've only got 40 in total, so there you go. 4 times as many points at home as away. Pick up some away form and they're well in the top half, aren't they? Derby, who were the goal scorers on Friday night? Waghorn, one of my old favourites. Chris Martin, great goal, that one actually. Holmes breaks from midfield. Great finish by Martin. Rooney with the brilliant free kick. And Bogle smashes one in. God, Aquatic says, who do I reckon top 2 and playoff winner? My God, it's too hard, isn't it? Really, really is too hard. Every stat says Leeds should finish in the top 2. But they might not. It's so hard to call this one. Any team is capable of messing this up. I just can't see the team Robin was talking about who's gonna score 2 points per game until the end of the season. So another 32 points to add on. Who's going to do that? Add on 32 points to West Brom, and Christ, that's only 88. So goodness me. Where did we get down to? So yeah, Derby, really good form. Where did that come from Stoke? Because they'd won 3 out of the previous 4 going into that wreck. Rob says Millwall finished second. That would be quite the run from down in 9th, but hey, stranger things have happened, haven't they? Stoke, like Huddersfield Stoke, aren't they? They go on a good little run. Robin says Norwich 89. I think, did Norwich not get 90 last year? I think they did, didn't they? But if you check that, animation says West Brom, Brentford. Colin says Leeds have 2 big signings to come in. I think he's talking about Poveda and Augustin. Will Bielsa play them? He brings them in and then doesn't play them, doesn't he? Diddly do. Yes, Stoke, they have a run and they just can't get away from the edge. They're still only 2 points above. I've said for a while, I'll say it again, I said earlier in this stream, I'm expecting Charlton to make up the bottom 4, but they're still above Huddersfield and Stoke, aren't they? So despite Stoke's good form under Michael O'Neill and their ability to win games, they need to win some more. That could be a high points total if one of those bottom three can push. You just wonder about them getting adrift. Robinson says Huddersfield and Stoke just cannot pull away. I totally agree. We've done Hull, Reading, QPR, Birmingham, Borough. So we need to do Charlton. Sean says Derby lost 1 in 8. Yeah. Very, very good form for Derby. Recently needed that run. And a big result down at the bottom. Charlton 2, Barnsley 1. Absolutely huge win there. Barnsley had been in good form, hadn't they? They'd been the ones that looked like they were going to push out. And if you look, 4 defeats in the last 5, and they're having flaky defeats now, Barnsley, but they're actually playing well, creating chances. They hit the post like 3 times, didn't they, against Charlton. But Charlton get a really important win, which puts the gap between Barnsley and Charlton up to 9 points there. They're just paying for that really bad run when they were trying to find a manager. Charlton, you'd still worry, but that gap is good. They're only 4 points away from Wigan, who've had the streak. But remember, these teams in the bottom 3 just don't keep the winning streaks going, do they? They only last 1, 2, 3 games at the most. Someone just asked in the chat about a bottom 3. You'd think Luton, I know Luton are level on points but with Barnsley, frankly, but you'd think Luton, given the way things have gone and that Barnsley seems to have shown another, kind of a bit of a better upside than Luton. But hey, the points tell the story. You're just worried now for those bottom 2, 7 points adrift. That's a big turnaround. In 2 games' time, there's going to be 14 games left. You've got to turn around 1 point every second game. Animation says Luton, Charlton, Wigan. Robin says Luton, Barnsley, Wigan. Charlton are making it look difficult for them to slip. I know their form basically since the first 6 games has been relegation, so maybe that first 6 games will keep them up. What that does say, though, is if someone could do the reverse of what Charlton have done and have that 6-game streak at this point in the season, they could usurp them if that's all Charlton are playing with points-wise. And come on, surely Huddersfield and Stoke are not going to get dumped in it. Aquatic says, will Derby get the points cut? It looks like they're going to get something, but at the moment they're on 40. Still, if Derby were to get a 9-point deduction, they drop right down to 31, which put them in sort of joint 21st place. Could still be bad for Derby. I think that is everything done. If anyone's got any question, Animation says Rooney could probably pay Derby's fine himself. He probably could. It's the points deduction that will kill Derby, not the fine. They seem to find their way about it. How about top 6 League One? Oh God, don't talk about top 6 League One because it doesn't look like it's going to be Ipswich the way things are panning out. Pompey coming fast in League One. Sunderland on the edge. Oxford have lost 2 good players. Rotherham look good. Peterborough are on fire. They smashed my team Ipswich 4-1. Those are the names I'm thinking of. Sadly, I'm not saying Ipswich in those names, but Ipswich haven't beaten anyone in the top 8 this season, which does not bode well if they finish in the playoffs. Animation says Oxford Newcastle later on BBC. I will not be watching that. Animation. I do not have a TV license, so I can only do Sky and the like with things, and not in real time either. I would never do that, would I? There you go. Hull. Jonathan's back talking about Hull. There we go. Any more questions in the chat? If not, we will move on. I'll apologise again for this review being late. As I say, some shenanigans between the M25 and the M1 last night, and I was in no fit state after chatting to the police for about an hour about my road positioning and the 2 cars that bashed into each other. Robin says, who did Bowen go to? He went to West Ham, so we may be seeing him again sooner rather than later. No championship this midweek, so we will, Animation says, will Hull get relegated? They've probably just got too many points on the board, haven't they? Really, if Hull get 0.5 points per game for the rest of the season, they'll finish on 47, which should be enough. Josh says, Streaky Lee to keep the streak going versus Birmingham. That depends where the game is. Come on, you know what Streaky Lee's right. As soon as we expect him to win, he will lose. Steve says, looks like an old bloke, Rooney. Yeah, he plays like a young bloke though still, doesn't he? Pings those free kicks about. Bristol City are home to Birmingham on Friday night. You'd make them favourites, wouldn't you? But yeah, if they stick now with this system and this form, and they've got, looks like Jeju now, because we're worried about a phobia and no goals, and it looks like Jeju's got going and they've got backup with Wells. So yeah, maybe they can do it. It does look interesting. A few people interested in Bristol City, but look at this weekend: Forest versus Leeds, absolute banger. That one, that should be a good one. Terry says, didn't Bowen get a clause if West Ham go down? Yes, he did. Jonathan says Leeds will pick up 7 out of the next 3. They do need 7 out of the next 3. But remember, the next 2, if Leeds pick up 7 out of the next 3, they're going up, aren't they? Because they'll have taken lots of points off Brentford and Forest. Yeah, Steve says, need a licence for Sky. Yeah, I don't watch in real time, Steve. So as long as you're not watching in real time, watch on delay, you are okay on the iPad. Jonathan says, yeah, 100%. Someone said, am I at West Brom at home? He's talking about Mill. Yes, I will be at the game on Sunday. Jaggy says, would be like us to lose to Wigan and then batter for it. Yeah, of course it would. That's been Leeds all over. Leeds capable of it. I don't think Phillips is back until the Brentford game, and that does make a difference with that small squad, doesn't it? If that first team's ticking, then they can beat anybody, but alas, no. So yeah, all panning out very interestingly. Top 6 looking very interesting again. Let's do the preview maybe Thursday night, Friday night. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you for the comments as usual. Follow on Twitter at Benjamin Bloom. Support monetarily on Patreon. Oh, quick ones. Josh says, what happened to Ipswich? It's Sammy Smodric's good. He scored a couple of Peterborough. Yeah, Ipswich got done by Peterborough's front 3. Smodric's was excellent. Right, we'll do you a farewell there. I'm going to go and eat my dinner. Thank you very much. And I will see you all at the weekend. Get involved in the comments if you're not watching. Doobie. Trevor says, you don't need a TV license, just close the curtain. Oh yeah, don't broadcast it on a stream. Steve says, after it's Bristol City as well. God, difficult run for Leeds. Yeah, they really do need to notch up a minimum of 6 points over those 3 games. Right, goodbye everybody. See you very soon. Over now.